Hello, Ownyouraura. Thank you so much for being here with me, for being my muse, for holding space for me to share my insights, and allowing me to be a guest in your aura. And respect and reciprocity for what you do, for your readings, and especially asterisks the Capricorn readings. So I've done an Inkblot made in your name and essence. We also have GhostTube here for the seer version for any visuals that may further inspire. Looks like you're a breaker of chains. And we'll add on tarot and oracle. And we'll just explore, empathically explore. So please receive or release freely. Here's your Inkblot made in your name and essence. Feel free to take a screenshot and you can contact me via email for the original. Okay, I'm going to take a moment here. You're welcome to join me to close the eyes, cleansing the palette of perception, releasing the race and the rush, activating the abstract mind and ancient awareness to perceive and receive symbolic support in the name of Ownyouraura. I'm also going to tag you below. Okay, that's fine. All right. When I was doing your Inkblot, a few things that came through, Delphi or Delphi, Oracle, and I admit I had to Google it. I wasn't sure. But it was very big vibes of that, very big Oracle vibes. High Priestess and Pythia, Temple of Apollo. Anyway, after the Google, I had to Google Delphi or Delphi. Cucumbers, natural, refreshing. Spelling. I don't know if there's like a dyslexia or just spelling's not my thing or something about like book smarts. I don't know, something along that lines. Bundle of joy. Light, crystal, and light blue dragons. I don't know if you are a crystal child or if you're familiar with that, but it's like crystal. And there's where I saw the oracle essence. Okay, I'm going to dig in here for shapes and symbols that speak. Of course, please see, sense, and feel for yourself for any shapes or symbols that speak to your senses. Okay, I feel like there was a sacrifice. I'm probably in a past life. Not to say that you haven't made sacrifices, of course, in this lifetime. This feels deeper and darker. And I say a long time ago because I'm seeing like rust red. And there's actually, it was like a sacrifice with somebody else. So it's like two of you. There's two of you, two people. I'm not getting the sense that like this was aspects of the self. And it was an offering of some sorts because of your position. I'm not sure if I'm in the Oracle Delphi or maybe like a more of a witchy one, but you definitely have strong vibes of that. I don't know if that's helpful, if you even resonate, but that's what it feels like. Okay, so even in the image down below, see how there's the two of them. You might have even been males in there. There is some sort of sacrifice. Could have been, it feels like a surrender. I surrender. It feels volcanic in nature, but even though it feels volcanic, I'm not seeing it like being dropped in a volcano or anything like that. It just feels like bloodshed and it's old. The rest makes me feel like it's old. Possibly even like Viking-y times, if that resonates in there at all, as I'm seeing a very ornate ship. Has a lot of carvings on it. It is wooden. It seems like when I'm still in this lifetime that's past but current, paralleling your present, whatever beliefs may believe. The sacrifice was noticed by spirits, and white light spirits kind of came in. It's almost like I can see this time happening, and I'm standing there back to back with this other aspect, and we know in the surrendering or whatever the case is, or we were caught doing what we were doing. I don't know what it is. That's not my concern. And we were, found, like I can see clouds rolling over. Like I'm not sure, or maybe I'm very sure actually, that whoever was like, yep, we're still here, hunter to hunty type feeling, knew exactly who they were sacrificing. And there was a reason for that, for something about the potency is coming through, the potency of personality, persona, this, that, or the other. But gold came in, so I'm seeing gold. I feel like in a weird way, I want to say like, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it because I'm going to release how it may be received. Is like karma was rich, like gained karma coins for that. Very like in gold. So like gold came in for whatever this sacrifice, and but by like the experience, it seemed like I surrendered. But really, it ended up anyway. Okay. I also have a poker hand here. I'm going to take a look at it. The Paradox and Tink. I'll bring them up so you can see, sense, and feel for yourself, of course, if anything stands out. The Dreaming, and just a bunch of little mushroom people. And the Remembrance. Okay, and even the Remembrance. Yeah, like this is... Okay, so see... in the mushroom people, like they're all there. It's like there is some sort of war, hunter-hunty concept. And I'm up here. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Give me a second here. Thank you. There we go. I think I just had a little fly up. I'm up here. And this is where this happened. There is a lot of other people involved in it. And as they were involved in it, but you're remembering. Like, I don't know if it was... Okay. So this is kind of like the best way I can say it without really knowing what I'm saying. Is you and this other person in this lifetime were representatives of something. Again, a power personality or in a power position. And maybe your people were hunted or something along that lines. And it represented something. But you also knew in that representation that sacrifice and surrender would save the people. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, I feel like you do. Anyway, so I feel like there's a remembering. And I do feel like you're a male. Yeah. I feel like it was a male incarnation. It's like as if you were like the elf people amongst, giants and all these different kind of characters, if I may. And it's, so on one hand, it's like I'm seeing very clearly two kind of past lives paralleling. One where you're male, one female. And it's like this coming back with a little bit of tink with the stink. You know what I mean? Like I got a... how do I say that? It's a fleet in my mind. I got some things I got to take care of here. But not and it's kind of like the paradox of it all between these two specific past lives, or maybe it's this lifetime. So now I'm coming into 3. Thank you. Yep. There's the third. There's the woman. Okay. Here and now, it's like I'm dreaming of these things that I remember about. I remember because they're infused in me, right? They run through the cellular system of remembering. The paradox that I'm sensing is that I can see how that happened, and then it's like the tink comes in, and it kind of has this, attitude, if I may, like there's just this attitude. But it's like Tink staying in the light. Tink staying in the light, even though one dwells in the darkness of suffering and surrendering. Now, I don't necessarily put suffering and surrendering in the same category. This is just how it's feeling for me in that lifetime. And it's like I come back with this little bit of a stank. But inevitably, the ritual down here in candles, peace is being made. Because in this lifetime, I feel as though I'm dreaming of what I remember. And that's part of the clearing up the paradox, if you feel like there's been something going on. Somebody still keeps an eye on you as well. It's like the characters, for the people that were saved in the sacrifice, they also remember. they also remember. Sorry, I'm going to turn this around so I can dig back in. So I feel like I jumped right off there into a whole other lifetime. So apologies if that doesn't resonate, or it's like, what are you talking about? But it was definitely a beautiful old way with honor. Okay, so I'm coming into what I believe is the Delphi or Delphi, excuse my unknowing. This is where I feel. It kind of gives me the tank vibes, a little bit lighter blue with a darker blue infused within it. Like my feelings run deep. And even though it's like, again, I'm seeing Tinkerbell, maybe you can reference or resonate with this. I might be small, but I'm mighty, like a mighty mouse. But it may be, whether it's within oneself or externalized, it's like, don't underestimate me. The fixer. Yeah, you've cleaned something up. But I feel like it's in a, that breaker of chains feel. Some fibers are left frayed because they needed to disconnect from you. It's like they were tapping in. Okay, that's the shadow aspect. I'm also seeing tulips. I'm also seeing crocodiles. Paradox is coming back out with Tink. I'm seeing different forms of metamorphosis happening. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing very clearly. On the bottom is the Queen of the Golden Bird. Like, I feel like this is like that oracle feeling. Like, it's almost like, when people say like owning who you are, like you say, own your aura, and embodying what could be perceived as ego, but it's not. It's not ego in a survival space. This is like presentation of my person, of parts of my person that are applied. It's like, in some ways, I'm very extroverted, is how I'm feeling. And for whatever reason, it's coming into, like, not necessarily this lifetime, but another portion of it is it's like being a queen that walks among the people very, very calmly and truly, truly there, not as some sort of effort to be liked, or not some sort of effort to, be adored, truly because there's no separation. And that's how it feels. Does that make sense? There's something about, I feel like your parents is coming through, the rocks and the fixer, if those mean anything to you. And maybe they had very traditional roles, or the complete opposite. Tink and the paradox came out again. I love how in the paradox card, like, of course it's the same either way. Do you know what it makes me feel like? It's like I can feel injustice on a universal scale. Yeah, that's like that Viking time. And I also don't know if you were like raised on a farm, or there's something about a farm. If you had like older parents, like where my parents had me very young, maybe you had older parents, and there's something about maybe a sister. Okay, I'm back in the metamorphosis. Thank you. Sorry, so now I'm down here. See all these parts of metamorphosis coming through? It's like I can see each stage that comes into this, and then I'm crowned with something. And then it's almost as if, as I'm going through, I'm sorry, not sorry that I'm all over the place. This is part of the process. Very abstract. It's almost as if, I am going through the metamorphosis, these different stages of like many lifetimes that are happening simultaneously at once. And though, yes, we can all intellectually understand that to some degree, if that's a belief system, if that's a line of thought, it's not my concern whether it is or isn't. How I'm feeling it is that I feel, as a guest in your aura, I am aware. And I am aware there are many stages of metamorphosis happening in my all, the aura of all that is, that I could apply to me. So I have all these different characters, like even to the point where when I talk about parents, it might not even be parents in this lifetime, because this is how many timelines I feel like is just in your aura aware. Does that make sense? Aware and awake. Now, this doesn't mean to say that there isn't some sleeping and they're kind of like holding space for their time. And it feels like there's a resurgence that may or may not happen, depending on what all the other players choose to do. Does that make sense? I don't even know how to say it otherwise. Okay, I'm going to bring this up and keep adding on if there's anything you see, sense, and feel. I feel like somebody checks in on you. Somebody else might just be nosy. I know there's like a big sister vibe. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a spirit guide, a sister guide, something along that lines. Yeah, there's that. See, even like in the images that are coming up, I feel like this is really pertinent. There's a lot of what seem to be fight and sacrifice and surrendering. But this is where you meet some of like the biggest comrades that are still with you in this lifetime, in the here and now, in the present incarnation in which we are coexisting. Okay, I'm going to dive back in here because it must be important. Maybe this is part of the healing that you're doing, cleaning things up. The male, when I come back into the fixer and the rock, now I'm being brought into your male and female energies, specifically like crone energy on both ends. I'm seeing tusked elephants. So they're not elephants, and forgive me, my linear mind doesn't always work here well. Doesn't matter. I don't need to remember the word. Tusked elephants. So like old elephants. They were frozen. What is that? It doesn't matter. Okay. And they were like your pets. Now I'm seeing like Snuffleupagus from, I think it was from Sesame Street back in my day. So it's almost like these big beasts. And I can see you walking or being on one, because I'm not sure of seeing all these people, which one's you, because you're so infused with everyone. Like just like there's seeds and sparks. And they're so calm, but yet they're big beasts. And now I'm in the movie The Labyrinth, and it's like there's one of the big beasts there in that labyrinth, and he can call upon the rocks. This isn't the same thing, but it's in that essence. These big beasts have an ability. They wish to be of service with you for their own evolution of energy and experience. And they really like kindness. There's something about kindness, purity of kindness. It brings me back to the tink of the light, not tink of the dark. And they can call in other beings in different dimensions to come forward. Okay, there's some sort of, fire element in its different form coming forward. It's like I can see this circle. I could say ceremony, but that's not how it feels to me necessarily. This feels beloved, radical acceptance. Thank you. How do I say this? Or how do I say what I'm seeing? The purity of my fire, the fire element that are lions, they come through to... Okay, so one part of this oracle feeling, I feel as though I work with water feeling. And my shadow is infused within me. So there's like really dark blue, I'm going to call it. like, you know, like seeing an ocean and it gets darker as it gets deeper. But on the surface, I'm able to maintain the lightness, the crystal blue. Even though water's translucent, it's still coming through that way. It's also, I spoke. I did things and I was like a tulip. I'm seeing like Alice in Wonderland when the flowers talk, and I spoke. And it was very, very kind. Yes, it could be sometimes cold, but I even said cold things in kindness. This could all be attributes that you have in this lifetime. I have no idea, but I'm going to keep going. The fire, it's like the closest thing I can resonate with is fire scrying. It may resonate. There might be a connection with fire. It's like fire and water. I do feel like this might be a slightly different timeline. It's like I'm turning the sundial disc, like tuning in to these different aspects that are very clearly in your aura. I say clearly, but they exist like heart on your sleeve type thing. And this one feels more of like, as I keep hearing ceremonial, but I personally don't want to say ceremonial, because it feels like I'm raising something up, and I'm raising something up. Again, there's people watching me, and through the fire flames, and like there's herbs being thrown in, I see things in this. Oh, I did pull out other cards. We have here Willow of the Wisp, treasures hidden in the shadows, Jeweled Web connectivity, and Horn Cactus resourcefulness. I'll bring these up for you. As well, Resonating and Horseman Herald of Change. This is that Delphi Oracle feeling up here, and I want to plop that in. Deep water and light water. Throat and third eye, throat and third eye. The metamorphosis was happening even deeper than my body embodied. That's what I've said. Okay, the horned cactus resourcefulness. When I was speaking to your, they're not saber-tooths. No, that's the tigers. Anyway, those very large elephants that are mammoths. Oh my goodness. They could call in other elements. You understood how to create relationships with beasts and bugs and people and all different sorts. And equally, like seeing a floor being put together, they all created paths, like a mosaic path, okay? That's how that feels. And it connected things. What other people didn't see, what other people didn't sense. This is also, let's see if I can get my fingers here. This Willow of the Wisp is also that oracle feeling. You had things hidden deep within, and I feel like that's what people wanted. When I see all like that war and that rust fire, you were creating change. You're not just you. And this is, I feel like this is important because it feels like it's some part of the integrity of the timeline that I'm in. It's not me, just me making the change, but it was me and all the people. But I was definitely the one who needed to surrender to save the people and be the sacrifice. And that set off another offshoot, another timeline, because I love. And then I come into the beloved fire. And this is where I come into a different timeline of conjuring. And like I said, when you're like throwing things in the fire, herbs, and it's like this whole thing is fire. And all my timelines talk at once. Right behind it, all my timelines talk at once. There's the fire, the beloved fire. And then this fortune's wheel is right here. Good. And I kept talking and feeling this sundial of sorts. And it's very sundial-y. I hope this makes sense. Somewhere along the line. Okay, while I'm still down here before I flip it, if you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe. You can absolutely share on your own channel, all that kind of good stuff. Or not, you can just keep it to yourself and enjoy. It's beautiful. Before I flip it, because this feels a little different, I'm also seeing some sort of character within, like you have in some way, shape, or form played, for simplicity's sake, the villain. Because I'm seeing a skeleton and he has like an eye patch. Now, maybe this was at some point in time like a nemesis or something that embodied. But Dark Moon just came out as I'm speaking to this. This is also where it's like looking into whatever, the fire, the water, tarot card, whatever is your current modality and medium, to see and speak to the light in the dark. Ignorance is not okay here. That's how I feel. Ignorance is not okay here. As much as I am willing to bring forth inspiration, insights, like from, because it feels like it's being pulled even like well beyond the belly button and out and spoken. And to help people and create offerings. I don't know I don't know who it is. That's fine. There's also this willingness, or a different lifetime. Again, not completely sure. It's not the point. I was willing to see and speak to the dark, if I may, or the enemy, or the compassion I held for those I love and were working with. I also held compassion for my enemies. And it's like you would speak to their front person, and no fear. No fear. Do you understand what I'm saying? The feeling of no fear, because my integrity is intact, of love. It can't hurt me. But I understand from the timeline on the surface, the lessons that are being laid out in the landscape, and why there may be, a fight or a war or something along that lines. It's like having that higher knowing that everyone's going to choose the way they pursue the paradox, break the paradox, promote the paradox. And even then, I reserve no judgment. This is how your energy feels. So when I was in here, you can see him there, but he's kind of like a cool dude now. See, like it's like no one has a bad thing to say about you. And we have that card in there, which is Dark Moon, the number 13, which in some lore, could be bad luck. But again, I personally, as Steph, see it as an integration number. It's like a missing number, a missing key. But for you, I feel like this is where other people are afraid to go. Like, oh, we don't go to the number 13. You're like, if I love all numbers, I will meet 13 on its own. I appreciate the wisdoms that are being shared with me, but it's not like I need to know for myself. This is, I would like to have the experience in its purest form possible. In the dark of your heart lives new breath, waiting for you to release its ghost. So there's also a chance here, in speaking of this character, that I feel like peace has been made, because it is part of your metamorphosis, that something else in your gift is growing and glowing. And it could be in, the typical shadow aspects, but I'm not really sure that's even the right terminology. Hopefully you understand that. Graveyard was on the bottom. Yeah, we're still here. We're here for Own Your Aura. I'm going to flip it for alternative perspective possibilities. Thank you. Oh, we're going up there. All right. I feel like you lived underground for some time. Wheel of Fortune again. We're here for Own Your Aura. Something about camouflage. Work being done underground. You know how an elephant can take water and then cool itself off? You have this ability to kind of add what you need, because I'm seeing a cauldron. It could be anything, but that's just the way it's symbolically coming through. Sorry, give me a moment. Okay. So I had here the Wheel of Fortune and the Hierophant come through. You've had the Wheel of Fortune come through twice now. Turning gears of karma, turning gears for more than you. Like, look at all those people there. And we've been speaking of that. Do you feel like you're noticed when you walk? Like, I feel like, you know, those street sweepers, you know, they're cleaning up the sidewalks and the debris. I kind of feel like your energy does that. It's like somehow I recycle things just by being me. And though I can walk predominantly, and when I say predominantly, I actually mean dominantly. Like, I can carry my masculine energy gracefully, and I can carry and walk with my feminine energy dominantly. It's like they can really switch parts of active and passive, passivity and activity, depending on my role. And I feel like I'm very intelligent. There's something Spirit tells you stories at nighttime. Maybe also something from when you were a kid. Brings me back into that crystal kid kind of feeling. I don't know how old you are, but I feel like it's still happening. Like, it's never lost you. Like the Tink. There's always a part of me that I'm aware. It's, you know, in that saying, like, we'll never grow old. Like, I'm always open to the innocence, because that's where I meet other people and other souls. And I think that's part of my spirit, along with my devil, if I may. You have a polka dotted devil. I feel like you can also close things off pretty quickly if it's not in alignment. That's the dominance. It actually comes from the feminine side of it. It's like, my kindness doesn't mean that I can't defend or won't. Four of Wands and Death has come through. You're still being taught in the subconscious dream state. There's something going on there. I feel like you might know it already as well. Thank you. Relationship, there might have been a passing of somebody. I was going to say widow walk earlier, but I didn't want to get stuck in the contaminants of what widow means. It's the essence of it. I do feel like there's a relationship coming up, if not already. But I'm okay by myself, and I'm okay in a partnership. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it kind of feels like I don't want to say go with the flow, but I kind of feel like I want to say I go with the flow. There's that metamorphosis coming through. That's like this. I don't know what sign you are, but this whole Inkblot feels like death. From the spirit all the way at the top to the rust right at the bottom. This exposure. And see how beautiful it is? Like, even, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful feeling. It's not this rampant, rancid death. This is, that's where the soil has been extra fertilized by your bodies that have passed on many times. There is a reuniting. I'm seeing Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. What is this? Hold on a moment. Thank you. I got to put you off to the side. When pigs fly. I don't know what that is. When pigs fly. There's that cucumber feeling again. Like, it comes in these moments of refreshing after something that was very, very raw. I don't know how else to say that. Something's raw. Secrets, stranded, and unseen is the gift. This is going to help me because there's like a cave here that's a little bit hidden. And when I say hidden, oh no, this is the fertilizer that I was talking about. All the bodies that you have incarnate have become fertilizer. Nutrients for the new, yep, okay, yep. So now I'm seeing a gown that's blue, like a gown, like a dress gown, gala. It could even be a Halloween costume. It's long, it's bluish in color, and it has wings. Oh, look at you. I think I did write in there, bundle of joy in your pre. I feel like you're just a bundle of joy. And if you don't have a sister, like I said, I feel like a sister in spirit watches over you. Or it's like you're supposed to be twins and something happened to the twin or something like that. And there could be like this weird feeling of being stranded here in this lifetime, like you didn't come with me, or maybe something didn't work out. Something along that lines. Could even be, okay, so that's why, because it's just simply stepping forward as a sister, and maybe there's a brother. Something along that lines. It's like a sibling didn't make it, or a sibling didn't incarnate in this lifetime. And I feel it. I feel it. Okay, so with gift and secrets, I feel like there's something else coming forward in regards to your offerings. It's something I feel like you already know, and I think you already do to some degree, but you don't say anything about it. You have a lot of teachers that still work. Okay, because there's something about the scope of it, the scope of the soul. Yeah, it's like this whole thing has been about different auras and timelines to seeing things grow. It's bringing me into the Hierophant, like being in a child's, not crib, but like the next stage up. Seeing somebody play patty cake as well. Patty cake, patty cake. I feel like you had imaginary friends. Moon's coming out again of these secrets. Thank you. Because I'm heading down in here. I'm at a temple, possibly Tibetan. I believe it's Tibetan, something along that lines. Ten of Wands. There's some sort of growth here. The temple of the wands of burdens. But they don't bury me. These burdens don't bury me. Yeah, there's that Viking thing again. Sorry. I got a bunch of cards over here. I'll get to them in a second. So I'm just down here in the Inkblot because I'm in this temple. It's I am being, you know what it's reminding me of, thank you, is when they, certain, I don't know what to call them, masters in different positions would go off, or maybe it's from like some sort of initiate, and you need to go off and like live in a mountain or in a cave for X amount of days, weeks, months, possibly even years, and have like no contact and survive on your own to receive your own information from source that works through the elements all around you as those resources. So it brings me into like one of those feelings, maybe in another lifetime or some initiative temple, or maybe that's where you're feeling now, because there is that gift coming in with the Hierophant. It's like, we can only teach you so much until there's a portion of you, an aspect of you, or again, another lifetime, that feels like it's in this cave existing on its own. Could be the hermit within that retreats for, I want to say like years, to learn something on my own. Again, because that integrity feels really important. So any information and stories I've been told, I can actually, number 13, integrate them with a knowing and a trust. Right? I'm acknowledging tradition, but I'm not held to it, and I'm not bound to it to repeat these paradoxes that are problematic. That's what that feels like. I feel like the rocks come calling in, even with sand. So the moon came in with the 4 of Cups. Unseen, we have here ecstasy, Ace of Cups, 7 of Cups, fear, death once again, and fortune once again. I feel like you have an immense amount of gratitude for how fortunate you are, for how fortunate your life has been, lives have been, because there's this understanding. Even when I don't like something, and I can say, I don't like this, there's another aspect, another part of my heart that understands and holds compassion. But again, doesn't mean I'm a doormat, and it doesn't mean I have to give a damn, literally give anything to it. I can simply give it my love and true freedom for that to exist. Yeah, there's a heart there amongst the many brick walls. And this is what this is like coming down in here. I can hold the temple. Pink Floyd, The Wall is coming through. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. But you're like embedded in the wall. Like there's some sort of carving. You know, like if you're going to somebody's like house and they have like those, I don't know what they're called. They're in like built-ins or something like that. But I feel like I'm at a different place where they're carved. And I can sit there. I feel like you might even see something like a carving or a picture or a painting, or go to a temple or go somewhere, and you're going to see something depicted, a deity depicted, and you're going to resonate with it. You're going to be like, that was me. Yeah, I lived that. And it might appear like worship in this lifetime, but it's like honoring another era that you walked with, right? Because it's like that collective energy and in the collective consciousness, and it all came down in different spurts and different people, because it feels like it's covered, like your aura covers a lot of ground at once. That's why I keep saying like there's many lifetimes existing at once, and even in this incarnation there's other yous existing at once, covering a lot of ground. There's a gift deep, deep, deep within. You might even need to go through the rivers of what makes you angry, the rivers of bloodshed from before, to purify that, to filter that. This is in the intuitive state. Once this happens, if it hasn't already, and maybe it's just something you can resonate with, that you've had to go through something in your lifetime that just like your blood runs red, something. Maybe this is why this learning and this acknowledgement of free will seems to come through very clearly. And it's being embodied, because maybe it's something you do, and now every so often it's like getting dialysis, right? Now it's just you need to pop in every so often to replenish your the oxygen in your blood, or blood sugar, whatever health or wealth that you're looking for to live in ecstasy. But it's like turning the rivers of blood and warshed, even within the self of this lifetime, the hurts, and I take thick water and I turn it into the softness of petals on flowers. And that's what, because it, okay, so that's, it's like hearing a story of why are roses red, because an oracle, a deity came down and took cups of everyone that suffered, of everyone that shed blood in sacrifice, that every etc. And they came down and would take cups of this blood from this river and paint the roses red, Queen of Hearts, not the nasty one, Queen of Hearts, and paint the roses red to remind us of the softness of touch, like a petal, to graze pathways, luring one into love, not luring in a nasty way, luring everyone as a reminder, as a visual reminder of the softness of that. Does that make sense? And this is what turns, for others, fears into ecstasy, including oneself. This is not about demolishing fears and saying one cannot have them. It is listen to them deeply, because that's where ecstasy resides. If one can turn the dark blood into and paint flower petals with it. And this is what brings in fortune, 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 threefold, threefold. This is beautiful. Children like to work with you as well. Very, very clearly, children like to work with you. I can't deny it. It's right there. It's like calling it. Again, I feel like in this, the closest thing I could say it is that Oracle of Delphi or Delphi. I'm not really sure. But I feel like you've had the same kind of presence in many different ways, shapes, or forms. Your age has always been more youthful. Whatever earthly expression you've been, you always look youthful. And there's something about like having a strong jaw to take any punches because you've taken them. And that's like, if there's any sort of innocence that people see, that's not to think that you can't fight, right? It's like, what is that I'm seeing? It's like taking some sort of exercise that is, what I can't remember what it's called, like fighting and dancing at the same time. Okay, I'm going to start closing out this message. Thank you so much for being my muse. I hope you enjoyed. And once again, truly, truly respect and reciprocity for what you do. Okay, so I have coming out here the Queen of Passage and the Lady of Faith. And they came out as a pair. And then over here we have the Lady of Sorrows and the Queen of Shadows. There's that blood red apple. Again, the queen. There's all of these energies existing simultaneously that I feel like you're aware of to some degree or another. But there's the one like Oversoul that maintains its royal nature for the overall growth of everybody. Those who wander through the sorrows, the rivers of sorrows. Again, you have all these elements that work with you. For those that wander through the dark of the shadows, the dark wanders with you. For those that hold their faith in war, it works with you. The Queen of Passage, creating paths for people to pursue beyond the normal, to go underground or to walk through a meadow for miles, whatever the case may be, and taking whatever that red apple is, talking about whatever anger it may be that we each hold and decide, is it going to be poison or is it going to be love? As we eat our own harvests, as we eat our own fruits of our labor. Own Your Aura, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go. Again, feel free to contact me if you're interested in the original, if you have any questions, all that kind of good stuff. Truly in respect and reciprocity. Thank you so much for being you and for scrying with me. Bye.